Hello everyone, my name is Jorge Diaz, President and Founder of Larry Jacob Internet Marketing, and I'm bringing you another episode of Defining Infusionsoft Success. This week I'm fortunate to have Sam, and all I have is Sam there on the title, but it's Samantha Bennett. She's my guest. Sam, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, George. Hi, everybody.
I'm usually more careful, but yeah, so it's more than Sam, and we'll make sure that when we publish this, people will know her full name. Sam and I, gosh, have known each other. I mean, we've met each other over the years because we've both been in the Infusionsoft community forever. When I first heard of her, she had just been nominated as the Infusionsoft Ultimate Marketer. That was really a big honor, and I mean, still is, except they don't have it anymore, as a way to recognize people who are using Infusionsoft way beyond the way other people's are doing, and that's kind of how we got introduced. Sam, why don't you come up and just tell people a little bit about you so they know who you are?
Yeah, so I have a business called the Organized Artist Company. So I help creative people get unstuck from whatever way it is that they're stuck. And sometimes that means just standing on a keynote stage and saying, hey, your creativity matters. At which point people burst into tears because nobody ever said that to them before. I've written books. I wrote 2 books. I wrote Get It Done, From Procrastination to Creative Genius in 15 Minutes a Day, which got endorsed by Seth Godin, which I'm totally not over.
That's nice.
I know, right? And then the new one that just came out is called Start Right Where You Are, How Little Changes Can Make a Big Difference for Overwhelmed Procrastinators, Frustrated Overachievers, and Recovering Perfectionists.
Okay, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, and then I have this secret life as an Infusionsoft consultant and reseller, and I don't know, I like to think that I'm a little bit of the standard bearer for it's possible to have a lot of success using very unusual or very personal tactics, that you can be really authentic and really a lot more transparent and a lot more interesting maybe than you think you can be using email marketing.
You know, interesting that you said that. We're going to be relaunching our site next week. I do every January. I mean, we're web developers, so you got to have the coolest site, and you know, it's part of our trademark. And so I'm including for the first time me on stage talking about how I named my business, and it's named after my grandfather. There's the Cuban immigrant story, Fidel Castro, who we don't care for as Cubans, and it's just a very personal story. And you know, over the years, you know, now I'm an engineer, and everybody says, you know, don't share too much, be quiet, you know, whatever. And the more you become authentic, it seems like you really just connect with more people, and it works well into your marketing. I mean, so that's kind of behind your message there, right?
100%. I mean, you know, Plate Mask taught me years ago, hire and fire exclusively to core values. And this applies to clients too. So when you're really living your core values, when you're reflecting your core values, when you're truthful about your core values, you become like the whistle only dogs can hear. You know, the people who vibe with you and get you will find you. And better yet, the people who do not vibe with you and do not dig you will not find you, which is even better.
Yeah.
Nothing's more expensive than a bad client.
Okay, so can you give me an example of some of the folks that you've been working with that were holding back on something that should have been shared?
I don't know that it's so much that people hold back on something that should be, like they're being untruthful or hiding. It's more this question of like, here's one way to think of it for yourself is to just ask yourself the question, how can I make this moment more me? How can I make this conversation more me? How can I make this email more me? This outfit, this commute, this, and that's going to be different for different people in different scenarios, sure, right? Sure. And sometimes it may mean, but it's just asking yourself the question: how can I just show up, be a little more present and a little bit more real in my own life? And the really simple example of that is, I think we've all had this experience where you're like in line at the grocery store or whatever. And then somehow maybe somebody makes a little joke or somebody says something or something happens and all of a sudden you're like, oh, you're a person and yeah. Oh, hi. And like all of a sudden you've got a richer, more complete experience and you feel seen and they feel seen. And it's not really hard to do. And I'm not saying, you know, let your total freak flag fly, although maybe for some of you, yes.
Depends on what you're selling.
Even just 1%, yeah. But even just 1%, you know, how can you show up just 1% more authentically? So that means not using jargon, not using the same adjectives that everybody else is using.
Yeah, awesome. Outrageous.
Can we have a moment for the word awesome? It was a beautiful word that meant something very specific that had to do with fear and trembling.
Right.
And now it's like, oh, this glass of water is so awesome.
Yeah,
no, it's not.
Or amazing, yeah.
And I've got a tip for that too, because that could feel, I don't want to have anybody feel criticized. When you want to use the word awesome, just go one step further. So like, oh, this thing is so awesome, and it's so awesome because it's so what?
So be descriptive.
Be descriptive. Just get a little bit more precise in your language, because awesome is just a word that means too many things.
Yeah. Earlier you said about attracting the kind of people that you either work best with and actually pushing away those that you don't. And, it's interesting. There was a client that we're no longer doing business with, and I just feel so much more relaxed. And again, I'm at a point where, I guess sometimes you have the luxury of being able to fire clients. But you work with some people and they just drain you.
No job that you ever take for the money is ever worth the money.
Yeah.
It just never is. It just never is. And you can really, it's one of the joys of entrepreneurship is you can really, first of all, you actually do get to pick your clients, and you can really trust yourself. When you're getting a lot of those red flags early on from a client, just say no.
Yeah.
Say, you know what, I think I'm not the right person for you. Let me refer you out to my friend. Let me,
Yeah, no, and by the way, it's interesting because I have one client that was referred to me by another Infusionsoft partner. And, like 2-3 months later, I thanked him because it ended up being a really sizable project and some good follow-up. And he was like really honest. He goes, I wasn't sure if I was doing you a favor sending you that guy or not, because apparently he had heard some stuff about him. And I can understand why he said that, but it's like we just got along really well. And again, it's a great relationship we have, but not everyone matches with everybody else.
Right. Yeah, and when you're running around trying to please everybody or trying to be the person that you think everybody else wants you to be, you're going to make those mistakes. You're going to get into bad relationships. You're going to misrepresent. And then, it's so hard because they think they've asked for something and you think you've given it to them, but then they're not happy and then you feel put upon and you're not happy and it's a mess. But when you've got clients that are great, that really match your value system, they love what you're doing. They love what you're up to. And when there are mistakes, and then there will be.
And there's going to be. Yeah, especially this is technology solutions, right?
Yeah, when things go sideways, which they absolutely will, to have that goodwill, to have that understanding, to have that sense of communion and like we're on the same team, right. It's priceless.
Great. So you've got a lot going on now. So share with us these adventurous New Year projects that you have going on.
Yeah, so I'm busy promoting Start Right Where You Are. We've been doing a lot of interviews and stuff for that. We got a nice article in Self Magazine and Reader's Digest.
So that's the book, right?
That's the book. So that's been happening. We're still in the launch for that. I'm also doing something kind of small that it's interesting to talk to you and your people about it because you guys are actually going to get what I'm saying. My list of creatives I'm not really even marketing this to them, but we're doing a little 3-day evergreen implementation event at the end of January with Justin Lofton from Sync Sumo, Mary Kay Morgan from EFG Consulting, and Scott DeGrossier from Wicked Reports. And we've bonded together, super friends, to help, just really small, like 10, 12 people implement their evergreen system. So We're going to work with traffic. We're going to work with creating something that's really sticky and really serves people. So it's not just, here's your 6 webinars, bye. Right. And then traffic and then analytics and metrics. So.
Right. And for people who don't know, I've had a couple of these folks on our program. So she's got Scott, who's doing measurements, Wicked Reports, what happened. He's reporting on stuff. You've got Jason, who's a Facebook guy. That's what Sync Sumo is all about. Mary J. Morgan's an implementer, right? An Infusionsoft person. And what's your, I guess, forte in that crew?
Yeah, so I'm the hostess with the mostest. I'm putting the whole thing together, but also I'm there for messaging.
Yeah, I wasn't questioning your value there. I was just
no, I know, no. No, but it's true. I've got them to teach specific things, and then I'm there, like I said, to host and MC the whole thing, but also there for messaging, content, authenticity, and copywriting, which is really kind of my thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So that's coming up. This is in Southern California, right?
It is. It is. You can go to evergreenretreat.co to find out more about it and even just have a conversation with me about it. And this really goes to what we're saying. I mean, I partnered with these guys because I've known them for years through the Infusionsoft community. I've always been interested in what they're up to. I think they're really smart. And as I was just looking for something new to do this year to try, I partnered with them, and it was, I asked them if they were interested, and it was a really easy yes for all of us. And it's been a really easy, fun process putting it together. And I anticipate that the event itself is going to be really fun and challenging and super, super fruitful.
Good. So hopefully people will come out of there with either something fully implemented or enthused, pushed forward in a big way so that they can quickly get something running, right?
Yeah. We're structuring it so it's like 90 minutes of teaching, 90 minutes of work time, 90 minutes of teaching, 90 minutes of work time. So you actually, because nobody needs to sit in a hotel ballroom and take notes for 3 days. We're done. We're done with that model. So this is really about getting the thing actually up and running so you can see ROI as soon as you walk out the door.
Great. Now, interesting. We spoke a couple weeks back about scheduling this, and then I've been now because we were going to be talking. I'm seeing your emails come through, and so you got your 1 of 12, and it was interesting because your topic is let me reverse engineer these prose material, which I thought was really creative. I mean, I spend my life doing that just because, when you're in this space, it's like, oh, that's interesting, and you study things. But you kind of take 12 people and you break down what they've done, right?
Yeah. What happened, and to be totally honest about it, I ended up overcommitted on my affiliate mailings for this week. I looked at my schedule and went, oh shoot, I'm supposed to mail for this person on Monday and this person on Tuesday and this person on Thursday and this person, and then I'm trying to promote my own evergreen retreat, and I was like, oh no, I'm going to burn out my list with hey, try this. So I was thinking, well, how could I honor my commitments to my friends and really do something that's going to serve my list rather than annoy my list? And so I came up with this idea of making it a series and really taking people sort of backstage behind people's offers. So to say, okay, here's Charlotte Jacobs from Thrive Academy, and here's what she's offering. Here's her style, here's her sort of who she serves and what she does. Here's her offer and why it works. And then maybe here's some ideas that you, newbie entrepreneur, could take and play around with for yourself. So, and really, I the other day I did one on, I think for Suzanne Evans, and I showed the raw affiliate link. I'm like, this is a raw affiliate link, and here's why it looks like this. And usually you'll see it embedded like this, and here's what it does, and here are the rules I have for myself on affiliate mailings and how and why I do them, because there are some real ethical concerns around it.
Sure.
That's turned into something really fun.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. And by the way, I'm sure it took plenty of work because you really, I read 1 or 2 of them, and it was like, wow. But those of us that have been to a lot of conferences and have been in this space for a while, you look at these and you can recognize the patterns. I've seen people where they're inviting you to something, or they're talking about an idea and the benefits, and I'm going, what am I supposed to do? Because the call of action isn't there. And, so that'll be probably the beginning of a longer campaign. The one in particular I'm thinking about had an event in January, and the only thing they cared about was to get you signed up for a big event in January. And I remember one time even calling them going, I think I want your services because you seem to be a really good match with what I need. And they're going, oh, perfect. You need to meet up with us in January. And it's just really interesting how, once you've been doing this a while, you can kind of recognize certain patterns where, you're thinking you want to buy this, but they're not selling that. And you can't buy that because what they're selling is this other thing.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I think the other thing I was thinking about is to really, I think a mistake a lot of marketers make is talking about themselves a lot and what they have to offer and how cool they are and what they have to offer. And what I find is it's much more effective when you're talking about, first of all, them. Talk about the people on your list. Talk about the pain they're in. Talk about what they're up to. And use your natural empathy, to say, you're struggling with this or you have this issue. It helps people raise their hand and go, ooh, I am. Yes, help me. And you can really, everything that looks like, and you can talk to them a lot more often than you think you can. Like I said, I'm doing this series of 12 emails, and they're in the subject line. It says 1 of 12, 2 of 12, 3 of 12.
No, and I noticed. So it's like, okay, she's going to be sending me a lot of stuff in the next couple of days.
Right. So everybody knows, but it's not going to be for the rest of your life. Like people get it that this is the thing.
Right.
But I've got a couple of 365-step follow-up sequences. There's 365 reasons to write and 365 reasons to create. So people get something from me every single day.
Yeah, but it's an opt-in. They requested it, right?
They've requested it, exactly. And they love it. And before I got the kinks worked out, I would get emails from people like, Sam, I didn't get number 217. I got 216 and I got 218. Where's 217? I'm like, wow, okay.
Someone's actually paying attention.
They're really paying attention. And here's a little pro tip on this. If you're going to do that, which I strongly encourage you to do, make the from email address different from your regular marketing address. So those emails come from Sam at 365 Reasons to Create or Sam at 365 Reasons to Write, because sometimes people want to create a file folder for them.
Oh, and that way they can just do an automatic.
Right, and then they know that if it's that, then it's one of the 365. If it's something else, if it's from Sam at the Organized Artist Company, they know it's something else. And so my regular marketing messages don't get put into the same folder as their daily.
Yeah, and it's interesting. That goes along with authenticity. If someone is connected with you because they connect with who you are, the way they see you, or the way you're portraying yourself, they don't mind hearing from you every day.
They like it.
Yeah, I send emails out twice a week, and interestingly enough, I have a lot of folks come up and say, I remember when you wrote about this, and of course, you're writing every week. You don't know which one they're talking about, but it's like people actually read my stuff. Go figure. And,
well, you can remember, not everybody. I mean, we're on everybody's list, right? Because we want to see what everybody's up to. So I get hundreds and hundreds of emails a day. But yeah, it's amazing how much. And as long as you're not boring, like this is the thing. Just don't be boring. Be interesting.
Well, and don't be boring to your audience, because I've got some serious programming geeks as clients, and man, their stuff to me sounds. And I'm a programmer, and it sounds really boring. And their people love it. It's like, oh my gosh, that guy's brilliant. And it's like, they know their audience. They know the kind of language that these people speak, and they connect.
Yeah.
So go figure. Well, cool. So when I publish this, you've probably mentioned 3 or 4 different URLs. We'll publish those when we get this out there. But if people want to reach you, how would they reach you? What's the best one to go for?
Probably the sort of umbrella one is theorganizedartistcompany.com.
Okay.
So theorganizedartistcompany.com, all the way spelled out, because I'm a spell it all out for you kind of a girl.
I see that. Yeah.
You can also go to startrightwhereyouare.com. That has a bunch of free stuff, and you can sort of see how the book launch, that machine is working. And for the retreat, you can go to evergreenretreat.co, and that's where that information is.
Cool. I'll ask you to email me that just to save me a lot of typing and make sure I get it right.
For sure. And actually you should check out the Evergreen Retreat thing, because Justin and Mary Kay and Scott and I are doing some free trainings. We realized we had to do some prep calls for the people who were enrolled. Sure. So we just decided to open them up to everybody.
Oh,
so
nice.
They're super heavy content. They're not really sales calls at all. They're prep calls. So it's a lot of really great information, and those are all going to be posted there. The one from Justin's already up, and it's amazing.
Cool. I may take you up on that just for myself. So,
for sure.
Well, Sam, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it, and take care of yourself.
Thank you so much, George. Thanks for having me. I'll see you at Icon, huh?
I'll be there. Take care.
All right.